Hey everyone, Prof Sales coming at you with another video. This video is about the 3,000 books I bought on Craigslist, I guess about a month and a half ago now. I wanted to give you guys all an update because the books have been selling. I still have the big portion of these books sitting in my garage. I've had a few nibbles on them, had some almost on selling them all, but it just hasn't happened yet, but it will. So what I thought I would do is I would go through a quick PowerPoint presentation with each of you and show you what I've sold, how much I've sold it for, what my net per book has been, and what I'm expected to make as they all sell through. Now, there's some assumptions there that they will sell through, and it's possible some of them won't, but I can just keep pricing down until they're gone. So these numbers might go down a little bit, maybe 5, maybe 10%, but I don't think they're going to change dramatically because all these books have pretty good ranks, the ones I sent in. They should sell, it just may take a little while. So without further ado, let me switch over to the PowerPoint and show you guys how it's been going so far. Okay everyone, so let's go over these results line by line. So we're going to start out, as you remember, I had 3,000 books. Actually, it ended up being 3,100. But most of those, 90% of those, I was not able to send in to Amazon. So the vast majority of them is going to have to reflip. I've already reflipped about 200 of them locally and made a few bucks on them, which I'll cover in this video. But let's see how I was doing with the ones I did send into Amazon. All right, so first up, the amount of books I sent to Amazon FBA was 261. So that's not even quite 10%. So I've heard that this number is about right. You're not going to get more than maybe 5 to 10% of a big book lot like this that are going to be saleable. Could have probably pushed it with some of these books and sent in more of them, I'm sure. But not knowing conditions any better than I do, not being much of a bookseller, I didn't want to risk it and send in a bunch of books that were crappy condition and get returns and so on. The number of books that I've sold, so far I have sold 89 books. So if my math is right, that works out to be 34%. Sold about 1/3 of them so far. And I guess I started sending them in around the maybe 24th of May, 25th of May, somewhere in there. Maybe, yeah, probably around there. Right at the end of May. So they've been trickling in. They went in about 7 different shipments, I guess, if I remember correctly. And just so you know, I created these shipments in Inventory Labs, and I created a separate supplier, and I called it Craigslist 2000, which ended up being Craigslist 3000. But that way I'm able to go back into my Inventory Labs and look at supplier profitability and see that exactly what I'm making on these books. And that's a good tip if you ever want to just break out a chunk of inventory a certain way. You can just make up a supplier name and call it whatever you want. That way you can sort of track how that particular set of sourced items does for you. The net profit on the books sold so far is $400, which I'm pretty happy about that. And that gives us a net profit per book of $4.49. Is that a good amount? I don't know. I mean, you guys can make up your own minds on that. I mean, there's lots of book courses out there that will teach you how to set up a business where you pay people to go source books for you. And you pay them basically about $1 per book. If you did that, if you had somebody who would go out and find books for you at $1 per book, and you could still net $3.49 on each book, I mean, I think that would be more than worth it. I think that would be good profit considering you wouldn't actually have to go find the books on your own. You would just wait till they brought them to you. So I guess it's good. I mean, I just don't know. I mean, maybe some of you who out there have more experience selling books can chime in on this. Books still left to sell. I still have 172 books left in Amazon. So that's the difference between the 261 I sent in versus the 89 that I've sold. If the rest of the books sell at $4.49 net profit per book, my projected overall profit on the books sent to Amazon is $1,172. Now, remember, this took me a good bit of time. I'll get to that at the end of the video, but that's a decent profit for, I think, going to buy something, right? And granted, it took a lot of work to go through it. All right, next slide. We have books sold from the house total. So I still have over 3,000 books in my garage. I had someone come by and buy a couple hundred of them for a school, and they spent only $60. I gave them a deal on them, actually. I mean, I gave them to them pretty cheap, but it was a teacher, and whatever. 60 bucks was worth it. It took them about maybe an hour and a half. So, you can argue I made $60 for an hour and a half's worth of just sitting around watching them count and stack books. But I felt like it was a good deed, and I don't need to squeeze out every penny of profit on these books. I was happy to do it, and I've had a couple other people ask, but they wanted to do it for much smaller amounts and just buy a few books here or there, which I'm not really in the business of running a bookstore out of my garage, so I've turned them down. Approximate value of the books I have left in my house. Now, how do I have this number of 450? Because that's what I've been offered. I've had now 2 pretty serious offers on these books, but for various reasons, they have fallen through. I'm not sure. One of them had a backer, he said, and he was unable to get his backer's money. I'm not really sure what that means. I don't know why you need a backer's money for $450. Another person is just coming from a good distance away. They were supposed to come about a week ago and get them and did not, and I've not heard from them. But I know that I can get that amount for them. I have them listed higher than that, but honestly, I would be happy with $450. So I feel like that's a good amount for 3,000 books. I mean, I don't think that's a bad, 500 would be fine too, but $450, I'm willing to go down to that. The amount spent, I spent $380 on the books. I paid a helper $25. That was actually my girlfriend's son to come help. So I'm into these books for a total of $405. That's all I have spent on them. So my total net profit projection is $1,277, which is the sum of the FBA total plus the value of the house books plus what I've sold from the house minus what I spent. I think that's a good profit. Now, consider I spent nearly 40 hours on these books between driving to get them, manpower to load them, driving back, manpower to unload them, processing all the books, sending them off to Amazon. And I've probably spent an hour or two, maybe another 3 or 4, maybe 3 since then, just on dealing with people. The lady came by and bought the $60 worth. But I mean, $1,277 for just an average work week, if my math is right, that would come out to a $66,000 a year salary if you could make that every week. If you could net that much. Now, obviously, I have to pay taxes and all that good stuff, but I don't know. I mean, it wasn't a home run. It wasn't a slam dunk like I thought it could be. I won't say I thought it was going to be. I'll just say I thought it could be. But I'm happy. I mean, $1,277, that's good money. I don't know that it was a lot of books and it was a lot of work, but it's a big chunk of money coming back to me. And it's going to come in dribs and drabs on Amazon FBA Nias. But, I'm selling these books pretty much almost every day. I mean, I've sold, what was it, about 90? So I've had them since the end of May. So I've sold about 2 a day, more or less, which I think is pretty good. Some of them might not sell. I may have to dispose of them or have them send them back to me if they're really worth something, which they probably won't be worth enough to have them send them back to me. Overall, though, I can't complain about that amount of money for the work I've put in. $1,277. I mean, it's pretty good. Is it as high as I think you can earn reselling? No, not by a long shot. I mean, that's $1,277 divided by, let's just say it was 40 hours. It's pretty close. That's $31.93 an hour. That's good. I mean, that's a good wage. I mean, in the United States, that would put you about, maybe 40-50% above the median salary in the United States for an individual. And depending on where you live, that would be a good salary. If you're somewhere really expensive to live, it's not that great. But if you're in lots of the country, that's a pretty good salary. I don't think I would necessarily do this again in terms of this many books. I would be more selective probably about what I bought. Maybe tackle smaller collections because it's just easier to manage them. I mean, these books are in several boxes in the garage still. I can't just take them to someone. That was the funny thing. There was one buyer who wanted to come buy them, and at one point he mentioned that he would meet me somewhere with them. To which I literally laughed out loud when I read the text. I went, dude, no, I'm not packing up 3,000 books and bringing them to you. I mean, that is just nuts. You're gonna have to come get them. I mean, I went and got them, so you're gonna have to come get them. It's just the way it works. There's just no way I was gonna. But if I had a smaller amount of books, say 100 books or 200 books or even 500 books, that would be doable. Then I could conceivably drive them to someone and meet them somewhere. But just with this amount, it's just such an unwieldy number of items that there's just no way to really move it around very easily. So it's just going to sit there in the garage taking up space, which is driving me a little crazy. But I will deal with it until they go. I keep renewing my ad and so on, and eventually they're going to sell. And if they don't sell, I've got a couple other options I can do with them, and I can always donate them and get a tax write-off. I won't get $450 worth of tax write-off from them probably, but I'll get something. So my cost per book too, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I think it came down more like around 11 cents per book instead of initially I thought it was going to be around 19 or 18. So that's really cheap. I mean, if you can get books for 10, 15 cents a piece, you can afford to buy some quantity and weed out the bad ones from the good and just cherry pick it and then reflip the other ones. That's basically my strategy at this point. So that's where I'm at with the books. I might do one more update down the road just to kind of let you guys know how it finished out. Once I move these books out of my garage, then I will definitely let you guys know, probably in a vlog, just say, hey, the book's sold and here's what they sold for and yada yada. So anyway, I hope this was an informative video for you on what's going on with the books. And if you like the video, please hit the like button down below. It's down below this video. I'd really appreciate if you did. Leave me a comment. You guys know I love hearing from you. And I try to answer everybody, at least respond back in some way. And of course, consider subscribing to Prof Sales so you get that video every single time one comes out. You get that email saying, hey, Prof Sales put out something new and cool. Go look at it, check it out, see if it makes sense to you. All right, guys. So until next time, this is Prof Sales saying good sales to you.